I should have never clicked that link. It started as just another night of scrolling mindless mechanical. My laptop sat open on my desk, its glow the only light in the room. The soft hum of the cooling fan and the occasional crack of the house settling were the only sounds accompanying me. I live alone, have for a while now. I'm not exactly the social type. I have a job in it, nothing glamorous, just fixing other people's mistakes. Outside of work, my life exists mostly online, forums, videos, endless scrolling. It keeps me occupied, keeps me from thinking too much. That night, I was on a small, obscure forum I'd stumbled upon a few weeks prior. It wasn't like the usual ones, no memes, no trending discussions, just people sharing strange, sometimes unsettling experiences. The kind of place where you see a post at 2 a.m. and immediately regret reading it. Then I saw it. The thread was titled, "Have you ever gone offline?" A vague title, but something about it made me click. The post itself was short, just a few lines. There's a part of the internet we don't see, a layer beneath the surface. Not the dark web, something deeper. You won't find it on purpose, it finds you. If you see the link, don't click it. And below that, a single hyperlink. No description, no comments, just the link. I hovered over it. The URL was a string of random letters and numbers, nothing identifiable. Normally, I would never click something like that, but I was curious, too curious. I clicked. The screen went black for a second, then flashed white. For a moment, I thought my laptop had crashed, but then a web page loaded, plain, white background, with a single line of text in the center. "Welcome. You are now offline." That was it. No buttons, no links, no explanation. I refreshed the page. Nothing changed. I tried opening a new tab, couldn't. My browser was locked. I hit escape, Control-Alt-Delete, no response. I forced my laptop to shut down and restarted it. It booted up normally, but the moment I opened my browser, the same page was there. "Welcome. You are now offline." I pulled out my phone to Google what the hell was going on, but my phone wouldn't connect. No Wi-Fi. No data. I checked my router. All lights were on. My other devices, tablet, smart TV, none of them worked. It was as if my entire network had been cut off. I ran diagnostics. The system said everything was functioning. No outages in my area. My ISP's website wouldn't load, but every other site gave the same error. "You are offline." I sat back in my chair, heart pounding. This wasn't normal. Then my laptop screen flickered. The text on the webpage changed. "Someone is coming." I pushed away from the desk, my pulse hammering in my ears. My apartment was silent, too silent. I stood up, straining to hear anything beyond the hum of my laptop. Then 3 slow knocks at the front door. I froze. I wasn't expecting anyone. I barely even got deliveries. The knocks came again. I reached for my phone. No service, no calls, no messages. A shadow passed beneath the doorframe. Someone was standing there. I forced myself to move. Slowly, I crept to the door, pressing my ear against it. No breathing, no shuffling. Just silence. I glanced at the peephole. Empty. I hesitated, then unlocked the door and cracked it open. The hallway outside was empty. I stepped out, looking both ways. The corridor stretched out in dim yellow light, identical doors lining the walls. No movement, no sign of anyone. I shut the door, locking it. When I turned back to my desk, my laptop screen had changed again. "They are inside." I spun around. My apartment looked the same, but now every shadow seemed deeper. Every corner felt wrong. I grabbed the heaviest thing I could find, a metal flashlight, and started checking the rooms. Bedroom empty. Bathroom empty. Closet? I hesitated. The door was slightly open. I didn't remember leaving it like that. Slowly, I reached out, gripping the handle. I yanked it open. Nothing. Just clothes. A stack of boxes. I let out a shaky breath, feeling ridiculous. Maybe I was overreacting. Maybe I was tired, imagining things. I walked back to my desk. My laptop screen had gone black. Then, as I sat down, my speakers crackled. A whisper, barely audible. "Don't turn around." I couldn't breathe. I felt it before I heard it, the shift in the air behind me, the slightest creak of the floor. I didn't move, didn't blink. My heart pounded so hard I thought I'd pass out. The whisper came again. "You shouldn't have clicked." I shut my eyes. This isn't real. This isn't happening. then cold breath on my neck. I slammed my laptop shut and bolted for the door. My hands fumbled with the lock, but when I yanked it open, the hallway outside was different. It wasn't my building. The walls were gray, peeling. The lights flickered with a low, buzzing hum. The air smelled of dust and something else, something rotting. I turned back. My apartment was gone. Just a black void stretching endlessly. I staggered forward, down the unfamiliar hallway, my breath coming in short gasps. Doors lined the walls, identical, stretching endlessly in both directions. Somewhere in the distance, I heard footsteps. Slow, deliberate, getting closer. I started running. The hallway twisted, stretched. The lights above flickered, casting shifting shadows that moved even when I didn't. I tried opening doors, but they were all locked. The footsteps behind me quickened. I turned a corner and ran straight into a mirror. My own reflection stared back at me, wide-eyed, breathless, but something was wrong. The reflection blinked a second too late. Then it smiled. A slow, unnatural grin, curling at the edges, too wide, too knowing. The lights flickered out. Darkness swallowed me whole. And then, I woke up. I was sitting at my desk. My laptop was open. The same webpage stared back at me. Welcome. You are now offline. I don't know how long I've been here. My phone doesn't work. My clocks don't move. The windows show nothing but blackness. And sometimes when I'm not looking, I hear the knocks again. If you ever see that link, don't click it. Because once you do, you can't go back online. I've always considered myself a tech-savvy person. I've been into computers since I was young, playing games, building my own PCs, troubleshooting when my friends' laptops crashed. My job involves network security for a small company. And outside of work, I often spend my time browsing forums, exploring Reddit, or just mindlessly scrolling through social media. So when something started to feel off, I didn't want to admit that I wasn't sure what was going on. I thought maybe it was just stress, maybe too much time online, but it wasn't. It started small, a strange notification I couldn't explain. One night after a few drinks and a long day, I was scrolling through Twitter when I saw a message pop up on my screen. It wasn't a normal DM, or at least not one I'd ever seen before. The name was just a jumble of characters. I clicked on it absent-mindedly, expecting spam or a bot, but the message wasn't random. I can see you. I stared at the words for a second longer than I should have. My heart didn't race, but I felt a weird shiver run through me. Maybe it was just some messed up joke, right? I mean, the internet's full of weirdos. So I shrugged it off, closed the message, and moved on. The next night, the same thing happened. The same jumbled name, the same message. I can see you. I felt a little uneasy this time, but I told myself it was probably some automated account or a hacker testing my security. I worked with networks all day. I'd seen my fair share of odd, suspicious activity. So I blocked the account and went to bed, hoping that would be the end of it. But it wasn't. A few days later, I was on my phone, scrolling through Facebook, when I saw the same message in my inbox. The same weird name, the same chilling words. I can see you. This time, I froze. I had no idea how it had gotten there. I hadn't opened Facebook in hours. I couldn't understand how the message had appeared on my phone, and the name, how had it even gotten past my security? There was something about it that felt personal, like someone was watching me, waiting for me to react. I did what anyone would do. I ran a virus scan. Nothing. I checked my devices, everything seemed fine. I even changed all my passwords, just in case. Maybe I was just being paranoid, but I had to be sure. But after that, the messages kept coming. They weren't just on social media anymore. I started getting them on email, on forums, even on websites I'd never visited before. Each message had the same cryptic text. I can see you. At first, I tried to ignore it, but I couldn't shake the feeling that it wasn't just some random person or a bot. It felt deliberate, like someone or something was watching me. Then, one night, after I'd been up late, trying to figure out if my network had been compromised, I got a new message. This time, it was different. It wasn't a simple text. It had a photo attached. It was a photo of my front door. I swear, I had checked the locks before going to bed, but seeing that photo made my blood run cold. I grabbed my phone and dialed the number for the local police, but just before the call connected, I got another message. "You should check your window." I froze, staring at the screen. I didn't want to check the window. I didn't want to, but I did it anyway. I got up slowly, as if every part of my body was telling me to stay still, to just pretend everything was fine. I pulled the blinds back. Nothing. No one was there. Just the empty street, the dim glow of the streetlights reflecting off the wet pavement. I sighed in relief. Maybe I was just losing my mind. Maybe it was just an elaborate prank. It had to be, right? I mean, it was probably some sick joke. Or maybe someone had hacked my account somehow and was trying to mess with me. But the messages didn't stop. The next night, when I was browsing Reddit, I saw it again. The same jumbled name, the same eerie message. "I can see you." I checked my security logs again. Everything was normal. I changed my passwords again, reinstalled my apps, and even reset my router. But I couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. It was like I was being hunted, but I couldn't figure out how or by whom. The relief I had felt earlier started to fade, and dread crept in, slowly but steadily. One evening, I noticed something in the corner of my screen, a new notification that popped up from an app I didn't remember downloading. It was an icon that I didn't recognize, a small, almost insignificant symbol. I clicked on it, half expecting it to be another scam or ad. But this time, it wasn't a message. It was a video. I didn't want to watch it. I knew I shouldn't, but I clicked on it anyway. The same way you can't look away from a car wreck. The screen went black for a moment, and then the video started. It was a recording of me. I was sitting at my desk, staring at my computer screen. The video was grainy, shaky, like it had been filmed on a cheap camera, but it was undeniably me. I could see myself through the lens of my own webcam. My heart pounded in my chest as I realized the video was live. It was happening right now, in real time. Someone was watching me, and they had been for who knows how long. I scrambled to shut the video down, but the screen flickered, and then another message appeared. "I'm closer now." I turned around, scanning my apartment, my breath coming in shallow gasps. The place was silent. Nothing seemed out of place. But then, something caught my eye. A small, dark shape just beyond the kitchen doorway. I didn't want to look. I didn't want to see what it was. But I had to. I stepped cautiously toward the doorway, my heart hammering against my chest. I had no idea what I expected to find, just a shadow, an empty room, maybe a trick of the light. But when I reached the doorway, I saw the shape more clearly. It was my phone, sitting on the kitchen counter, with the screen facing up, and a new message waiting. "I'm right here." The connection between us had been made, and now I knew it was too late. Whoever or whatever had been watching me wasn't some stranger on the other side of the world. They were already in my life, they were already inside my home, and they weren't going anywhere. I never believed I'd end up as one of those people, the kind of person who talks about creepy things they found on the deep web, like it's a real problem. I've always been a pretty average guy. I'm in my late 20s, a software developer by day, a hobbyist coder by night. Nothing out of the ordinary, just your typical tech-obsessed, internet-addicted individual. If you had told me a year ago that something I found online would come to haunt me, I would have laughed it off. But here I am, writing this, hoping it will help me make sense of what happened. It all started on a quiet Friday evening. I'd had a long week of work, and when I got home, I was tired but decided to kill some time browsing online. I wasn't looking for anything in particular, just poking around. Maybe I'd dive into a Reddit thread or catch up on some news. But the more I scrolled, the more I found myself drifting toward places I didn't usually go. I don't even remember how it happened, but somehow I ended up on a forum I had never seen before. The URL was something nonsensical, like Fipen3DW. A part of my brain screamed to turn back, but I kept clicking. There was no sense of danger. I wasn't doing anything illegal. At first, it just looked like a generic site, a dark theme with messages buried in thread after thread, mostly empty. But then, I came across something that caught my eye. The thread title was simply, "The Man Who Knows Everything About You." It was written by someone who went by the name Observer. I wasn't sure what it was, but it felt like one of those creepy, exaggerated internet hoaxes. The post was sparse, just a few lines of text that were so bizarre I had to read them twice. If you want to know the truth, you need to go deeper. Click the link below, and it will take you to the place where things you've forgotten exist. The man who knows everything will show you. I thought it was some kind of joke. Maybe it was some cryptic marketing stunt, or worse, a scam. But the curiosity gnawed at me. I wasn't one to shy away from weird things on the internet, and maybe I was just looking for something new. So I clicked the link. It led me to a new page, even darker than the first. It was simple, with black background and a single message in white text. Are you sure you want to know? I hesitated for a second, but curiosity pushed me forward. I clicked yes. Suddenly, my screen flashed, and I was taken to a new page. There were images, strange, disturbing images and texts that were both familiar and foreign. It was as though someone had dug into the deepest corners of my life and pulled out bits of my past I had long since forgotten. Old photos from my childhood that I hadn't seen in years, articles I'd written in high school, even posts from long-abandoned social media accounts. It was unsettling, how much it seemed to know. I quickly closed the page, my heart racing. That was stupid. That was way too far into the rabbit hole, but the feeling didn't go away. I felt watched. I'm not exaggerating. It was as if something was still lingering just outside my vision, waiting for me to make the next move. I told myself it was nothing. Maybe it was just an elaborate scam or prank, but deep down, I wasn't so sure anymore. The next day, I woke up to a message in my inbox. It wasn't from anyone I recognized. The subject was just my name, Adam, we need to talk. I clicked it, and the message read, "You've seen it now. You've seen the truth. You know what comes next." My stomach twisted. I opened my browser immediately, but the thread, the website, everything I had seen the night before was gone. Just like that, it vanished. Maybe I had been too tired the night before. Maybe the whole thing had just been a dream, but I couldn't shake the feeling. Something had changed. The days passed, and I tried to ignore it, but the messages kept coming. At first, it was only emails, then text messages. They were always the same. "I'm watching you. Don't forget what you've seen. It's not over yet." I started to panic. I checked all my security settings, my accounts, everything. I changed my passwords. I even reinstalled my operating system, just in case. But it didn't stop. It was like the messages were coming from inside my own mind. The more I tried to block them, the more they found a way through. I tried to tell myself it was just some elaborate hacking scheme, that some group of people had gotten into my accounts and were messing with me for kicks. But it didn't make sense. The things they knew about me, they were too specific, too personal. I started keeping a journal, writing down everything that was happening, trying to make sense of it. One night, while I was writing, something strange happened. My phone buzzed on the table. A text message. "Look outside." I froze. I hadn't been outside all day. It was late. The thought of going to the window sent a chill down my spine, but the message was persistent. "Look outside." Now, I stood up slowly, my legs shaky. I approached the window, pulling the blinds aside. Nothing. Just the empty street outside, bathed in the glow of streetlights. But as I was about to turn away, I saw something. A figure, just standing there at the edge of the sidewalk. It was too dark to make out any details, but I could see the shape of a person, unmoving, just watching. I felt the blood drain from my face. I stepped back from the window and turned to my phone, but the screen was already flashing again. "I'm closer now. You can't escape." I panicked. I grabbed my coat, rushed out the door and down the stairs of my apartment building. I had to get away, to go somewhere, anywhere but here. I don't know what I thought I would find, but I had to find something to stop this, to stop the feeling that I wasn't alone. But as I stepped out onto the street, the world seemed wrong. The lights flickered, the streets were eerily quiet, and I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being followed. I stopped in my tracks when I heard a voice, low and cold, coming from behind me. "It's too late for you. You opened the door." I turned around, but no one was there. I couldn't escape it. The man who knew everything about me had found me, and there was nowhere to hide. The deep web, with all its anonymity and darkness, had pulled me into a world where there was no turning back. The messages stopped coming, but I never felt safe again. I changed my phone number, moved to a new apartment, even left my job. But the nagging thought never went away: who was watching me? How did they know everything about me? And as I sit here, typing this, I feel a chill run down my spine. because I'm certain no matter how far I run, no matter how many times I change my identity, it's not over. The man is still out there, and one day he'll find me again. After all, he knows everything. I should have ignored the email, just deleted it like all the other junk that clogs my inbox. But something about it caught my attention. Maybe it was the subject line. "We miss you, Ben." At first, I thought it was a marketing ploy, some company trying to lure me back to a service I'd long forgotten about. But when I opened it, there was no company logo, no unsubscribe button, just a plain white background with a single line of text. "Come back, click to reconnect." No sender name, no signature, just a hyperlink. It was one of those gut-feeling moments where you know you should just close the tab and move on, but I didn't. I clicked. I should probably introduce myself before I go further. My name is Ben Carter. I'm 32, single, work in digital marketing. My job keeps me online more than I'd like, but in today's world, that's just how it is. Outside of work, I don't do much. Watch movies, browse forums, play the occasional game. My social life isn't exactly thriving. I have friends, sure, but I spend more time talking to them through screens than in person. Which is why that email unsettled me. "We miss you." Who? No company, no old friend, just someone. When I clicked the link, my browser flickered and loaded a blank page. For a few seconds, nothing happened. Then, slowly, words began to type themselves on the screen. "Welcome back, Ben." A chill ran through me. This wasn't a typical phishing scam. There was no form to enter details, no request for passwords or credit card numbers, just that unsettling message. I moved my mouse to close the tab, but another line appeared. "Don't leave." My breath caught in my throat. I shut my laptop. The room was suddenly too quiet. I sat there for a moment, staring at the closed device, trying to shake the creeping feeling that I wasn't alone. Eventually, I shook my head and laughed at myself. Just a weird glitch, maybe some kind of chatbot program to freak people out. I grabbed my phone and scrolled through social media for a while, pushing the whole thing out of my mind, for a little while at least. When I opened my laptop again, the next morning, the screen was still on that same blank page, but the message had changed. "You left, but we can still see you." I slammed the laptop shut so hard I thought I might have cracked the screen. My heart pounded. I told myself it was a prank. Someone had hacked my computer, maybe installed some kind of spyware. That had to be it. I unplugged the laptop, turned off my Wi-Fi, and ran a full security scan. Nothing. No viruses, no malware. It didn't make sense. And then my phone buzzed. A notification. Unknown sender. Look outside. My stomach nodded. Slowly, I turned toward the window. My apartment is on the 4th floor, overlooking the street. At first, I didn't see anything out of the ordinary: cars, pedestrians, the usual. But then my eyes locked onto a figure standing on the opposite sidewalk. They were facing my building, completely still. Not looking around, not moving, just staring. I couldn't make out their face from this distance, but something about their posture was wrong. Too rigid, too deliberate. A cold dread seeped into my bones. My phone buzzed again. "Come back." I turned off my phone and stepped back from the window. My pulse throbbed in my ears. This was ridiculous. Maybe I was just overworked. Maybe my brain was playing tricks on me. I took a deep breath. Just ignore it. Let it go. For a few hours, I managed to convince myself that I was being paranoid. That night, I even slept without incident, until my laptop turned itself on. I woke up to the hum of the screen and the faint glow illuminating my darkened room. I sat up, throat dry, heart hammering. The browser was open, and new text had appeared. "You can't ignore us." And below it, a live video feed of me sitting in my bed. My breath hitched. The angle, it wasn't from my webcam. It was from the corner of my ceiling, but there was nothing there. No camera, nothing. I scrambled out of bed, grabbing my phone to call someone, anyone. No signal. My Wi-Fi was still disconnected, but the screen refreshed again. "Let us in." A soft knock came from my front door. I froze. The air in my apartment was thick, suffocating. The knock came again, slow and deliberate. I took a step toward the door, then stopped myself. No people, no sound from the hallway, just that sickening stillness pressing in around me. Then, from behind me, a whisper, right against my ear. "We're already here." I don't remember what happened next. The next thing I knew, I was waking up on the floor, the morning light spilling through my window. My laptop was closed. My phone was working again. The world outside looked normal. Maybe it had been a nightmare. Maybe I had some kind of breakdown. But when I turned on my laptop, the browser opened on its own. And there it was. The same blank page. The same message. "Welcome back, Ben." And in the reflection of my darkened screen, a figure standing right behind me.